It always felt safe enough, walking the park's old running track on weekday mornings when the sun was out, but not yet harsh. The world seemed quiet, holding its breath, as I laced up my shoes and headed in, the silence broken only by the distant chirp of birds. The park was familiar, almost routine. Soccer fields rose on one side, ghostly and empty, while the other side sloped into a ragged line of woodland. The woods always seemed a little too dark, even when the sun hit every other patch of ground. I started my walk as usual, headphones slung around my neck, but not on, just in case. There was a single car in the parking lot when I arrived, a faded sedan parked crookedly across two spaces. As I rounded the first bend, taking in the crisp air, I caught movement ahead. A man, maybe mid-30s, all in black, a hoodie pulled tight despite the balmy weather, black jeans, black sneakers. He was walking slow, head down, about 500 feet away. For a moment, I tried not to notice him. It is a public park, after all. But it felt odd. Something about the way his steps did not match the lazy pace of the morning, or the sideways way he seemed to glance at the trees as he passed. I shrugged it off and slowed my own pace, looking for excuses, a loose shoelace, a sudden itch, anything to keep some distance. I watched him drift further down the track, past the curve, until he disappeared behind a bend lined with trees. With the man gone, the track felt emptier, quieter. My footsteps echoed sharp and unnervingly loud as I reached the bend where he would vanished. Dappled light flickered across the asphalt, the woods pressing suddenly closer. I walked slower, peering around. The soccer fields to my left gleamed gold in the late morning sun. But on my right, shadows pooled at the foot of the hill, thick as velvet, and the woods swallowed every bit of sound. As I rounded the bend, I expected to see the man far ahead. But he was gone, completely vanished in the seconds it had taken me to reach the corner. There was no way he could have walked far enough to be out of sight. I scanned the field above, no sign of him. Last, almost too afraid to look, I turned toward the woods trailing off the side, breath caught in my chest. There he was, standing perfectly still, half hidden behind a thick tree, just 10 feet from where I stood. His face was cloaked in shadow. My skin prickled. There was no reason for anyone to stand like that. Not in bright daylight, not there. He did not move. Just stood there, silent, as if waiting for something. The woods behind him loomed impossibly dark, muffling all sound, until I realized I could not hear the birds anymore. My hands went numb, and without thinking, I spun around and ran. Every instinct screamed at me to not look back. The woods seemed almost to press closer with every step, shadows clutching at my heels. I called my boyfriend as I ran, my voice shaking. He was working nearby, and I gasped out what had happened, trying to keep my eyes on the track ahead, lungs burning, feet barely touching the ground. The track was empty except for an elderly man out for a stroll. Desperate, I explained what happened, but he only gave a dismissive laugh, brushing off my fear as childish nerves. When I gestured back for him to look, I saw the man in black, now hundreds of feet behind, but unmistakably there, walking slow and deliberate, unhindered by the stretch of distance. Panic rising, I sprinted the last stretch, dodging the old man's dismissive wave. I reached my car, hands fumbling the keys, heart hammering loud enough to drown out everything else. As I locked the doors, I saw another car, a dark SUV, pull into the lot, circling slowly, then stopping just 4 spaces away. I felt eyes on me from behind tinted glass. For a minute, nothing happened. The SUV just idled, engine rumbling low. I tried not to look, but every hair on the back of my neck stood up, waiting for something to break the silence. Suddenly, the SUV rolled forward and circled the lot, then parked closer. I slid further down in my seat, watching only through the edge of a lowered sun visor, barely daring to breathe. My boyfriend called as he pulled in beside me. Relief threatened to buckle my knees, but I could not shake the cold that had settled into my bones. I explained everything as we watched the lot. That should have been the end, but the man in black appeared again, standing near a pavilion by the baseball fields. He stood there for minutes, phone pressed to his ear, pacing like a caged animal. After 5 minutes of pacing, he started down the sidewalk, phone still to his ear. My boyfriend watched him, saying nothing would happen with him nearby, but I felt anything but safe. My voice shook as I insisted we leave. The man strolled directly past my car, glancing in through the window, making no move to approach, but making sure I saw him. For a second, his phone dropped from his ear. No more pretense. Then, just as quickly, he turned the corner, vanishing down the next sidewalk, as if nothing had ever happened. Still shaking, I finally started the car, my boyfriend following close behind as we left the park. At home, I called the police to file a report. I hesitated, feeling foolish as I described the details. A man in black, hiding in the woods, a staring driver with no plates visible. The dispatcher listened, but I could hear the doubt in her voice. Days passed. No one else reported anything strange. Even the park's cameras, meant to watch the playgrounds and fields, missed the wooded tracks, shadows. I tried to tell myself nothing really happened, that maybe I would let fear get the best of me. But every night, as dusk fell and the world went silent, I remembered the man's posture, the flat way he stared, the possibility I would narrowly avoided something terrible. Weeks later, I passed the park in my car. The fields looked the same, but now the woods seemed even darker, a bulging presence between the trees. I drove on without slowing down. I never walked at that park again. Even with the world bustling in daylight, I knew somewhere in those woods a memory waited, a question with no answer, the fear that maybe I would been prey all along. Sometimes, late at night, I dream of the man still waiting just behind the trees, face hidden, listening. Even with the doors locked and lights on, I listened too, half expecting a footstep on the drive, or the whisper of branches at the window. I know now, it does not matter how safe the neighborhood feels, how bright the day. Sometimes the fear you sense is real, even if no one believes you. Sometimes it is better to trust your instincts and run. What haunted me most was not what happened, but everything that could have, an unseen story in the hush between the trees, waiting for its ending. As long as the track loops through the woods, I wonder, who else is watching from the shadows?